Welcome. This is an excerpt of a story called The Adventures of Goatman, written by Shape of Imagination and read to you by the Seventh Baba. As we walk on, Julie relays with smug delight that the tracks are easy to follow. Morris grunts in wordless acknowledgement and tightens one of the leather straps in his armor, like he does every few minutes of walking. Ander cautions her not to get cocky, as he glances warily from one side of the road to another. I can't help but feel a tinge of annoyance. I happen to think Julie is doing a fine job as a tracker. Also, she smells really nice, and her cheeks make this adorable clicking sound when she smiles. I would have liked to be walking right behind Julie, but Morris insists that mages like you are way too squishy for the front line. I didn't want to argue, and his statement has me perplexed. I don't like being called squishy, but I do like being called a mage. To be honest, I'm still not sure how those powers of mine work, but they excite me, and if they'll get me fame and glory, I'm all horns. We've walked for a while. The brush is getting a lot thicker, the trees taller, and the foliage denser and darker. Ander has told me numerous times to keep my wits about me and stop listening to the chirping birds. I told him that a great journey is pointless if you don't take the time to enjoy all the little things. And then he told me that I can enjoy all I want after we're done hunting the dangerous, monstrous rapist. Morris lets us know he agreed with that with a grunt, and then proceeds to adjust his spaulders. Next thing I know, we enter a small clearing. Next up to that, I notice how the clearing doesn't seem to get any brighter, in spite of the big open space in the canopy. I share this thought with my companions, and Julie compliments my observation, whilst I feel a warmth spreading from the roots of my beard to the bristles behind my horns. Ander cautions us all. It could be an ambush. Goatman, do you sense any magic afoot? I don't. I don't even know how I would go about doing such a thing, and I really don't know how I managed to keep myself from bleating in the most Carhathic way right then and there for being called Goatman. However, we Yama can all see in the dark. Right now, I can't seem to peer beyond the tree line a mere 20 feet or so away. Beyond the closest trees, it's just pitch black, and the longer I stare at it, the more I realize there's an eerie chill to it, like running through billowing autumn mist with eyes wide open. Only I'm standing completely still. I can feel that my fur is comfortably warm as always. Nevertheless, my eyes begin to water from the biting sensation, and I give in to the urge of closing my eyes and shaking my head. The shake causes my earrings and the beads in my sideburns to clack and jingle, the sound reminding me of my mother. The melancholic stab makes me miss her terribly, and I feel the chill persistently creeping from the corners of my clenched shut eyes down my cheeks and throat, spilling onto my chest, gripping my heart. I gasp and I tremble, and I think I hear Julie call out my name, whilst the flutter of a cape and shuffling of tiny feet tell me that Ander has taken a defensive stance. As I try to catch my breath and my thoughts, running rampant like startled four-legged kin, I hear Morris draw out his obelisk of a sword with that God's awful screech that just screams out in the front of the Katorima. What's going on? Morris snarls through gritted teeth. I realize Julie is helping me to my feet. Had I not been so shook up, I would probably have relished the embrace. Instead, I struggled to find the right Italian words. I don't know. I don't know about magic, but there's something unnatural to the darkness around us. It's like it's infused with ill will, a cold malice. I hear Ander draw his bowstring taut with a sharp inhale. Julie asks me if I can stand on my own. Embarrassed, I nod and force my eyes open again. My companions have formed a triangle around me, standing tense and alert. As I regain my footing properly, Julie draws out her slender blade as well, the leather of her glove creaking as she grips the handle. "Come on out, Kerr," Ander growls in that menacing voice that belies his stature. "We've followed you here. There's no escape."
"Oh, you are right about that."
A dry, bemused chuckle crawls out of the clearing. I spin around, staring in the direction from which I think I heard the sound. Out the corner of my eye, I see Morris turn his head sharply to the left, grinding his heel into the moss beneath us, raising his left shoulder and upper arm, grasping the hilt of his sword tighter. Julie ducks down slightly with a jerk, and her eyes dart about with a keen squint. Ander barely flinches, his eyes slowly scanning from side to side, whilst his fingertips writhe around the arrow's nock, making a low creaking noise barely indistinguishable from the ominously swaying trees. There's a cool wind blowing that wasn't there before. It almost seems to sweep up and steal away the other sounds of the forest. "There's someone hidden in the shadows to my 3, Julie whispers. I have no idea what she meant by that. The 2 others seem to be in the know, as they both turn to look right.
"My, what a display of perception,"
purrs the disembodied voice coyly, like bubbling tar covering a sinkhole.
"I thought it common courtesy for city dwellers to introduce themselves before demanding audience with their superiors."
The dark, silky voice has a tangible air of gleeful anticipation to it that makes me nervously choke and bleat lowly without meaning to. "Julie, can you see the bastard?" Morris drowns out my pitiful exclamation. "Yeah." Julie hesitates. "I'm beginning to make out a silhouette." Ander once again attempts goading our quarry. "Your little charade is pointless. Come out and face justice, you filth." There's a deep, utter silence, followed by a long, snide sigh.
"Listing your many transgressions would be a tedious labor of nitpicking tribulation, best suited for an old and much more bookishly hell-bent acquaintance of mine. I'd venture it suffices to say you're in my home. And you've been very rude."
The last few words drag on and waft towards us in a huff of exasperation. Morris takes 2 wearily shaky steps backward. I can hear Ander's teeth grinding and the shaft of his arrow clattering against the bow. Julie's eyes go wide as the horizon as her chin shoots up and her lower lip curls, tucking inward. I am the furthest away, so no one, except from the man in the shadows, knows what I look like right here and now. But I'll dare guess it's a look devoid entirely of heroism. Later I might look back and reason that it was in this very moment that I experienced the rekindled love of clan life and chores. But that is only for a later, that is, because right now all I could possibly think about is the looming figure emerging from the tree line. He rises 8 feet from cloven hooves on crooked, bended legs, covered in fur black as volcanic smoke. Marble pale chiseled torso with broad patches of coarse jet hair leans forward, hands clasped behind his back like a doting teacher about to school his incorrigibly youthful pupils. A long twisted beard and a leathery, angular face frames a sly, overbearing crooked, close-lipped smile, gliding through the canopy without as much of a sound. He heaves a set of massive antlers, wide enough to envelop a brewer's barrel of dwarven ale. The antlers, gnarled and dark in coloration, add to his already impressive height, making him truly tower over us, even though he is still 15 or so feet away. There's a light bounce to his gait, giving him the likeliness of a slim willow swaying in a winter's breeze. And with that, we've reached the end of this appetizer, if you will. I hope you enjoyed listening in. If you did, do consider letting me know. Leave a comment or write me a message or whatever you fancy. I'd really appreciate it. I'm an artist, and half of what keeps me going is, praise. The other half is money from commissions and such, but that's not today. Stay frosty.